Welcome to BL Story World. This is Mafia Brothers Story Part 2. Go and watch Part 1 before start this video. The following afternoon, the ultra exclusive, ridiculous expensive Royal Shopping Mall was completely shut down on the entire second floor. Lucas was a man of his word. When he promised to take his fragile little brother shopping to help him recover from studying too hard, he meant it. He had rented out the entire high-end wing. Six of Lucas' heavily armed guards carried dozens of designer shopping bags, straddling behind the twin like a heavy tattooed pack mole. Leo was in his element. He was dressed in an oversized, fluffy white cashmere sweater that fell off one shoulder, tight white jeans, and pure, unadulterated innocence face. He's looking like an angel at the just falling from a sky to bless a Gucci store. Oh, look, you really don't have to buy me diamond bracelet, Leo said, his voice soft and sweet, looking up at his twin brother with a wide, grateful eyes. Nonsense, Lucas grunted, adjusting his black leather jacket. You look at it for then 3 seconds. It's your. Besides, it distracts you from the ugly reality of world. Now, do you want to go a cafe? Lucas stopped that in his track. Coming out of the bespoke Italian tailor shop at end of the promenade was none of other than William, accompanied by Julian and four of his own guards. William was there for very specific reason. He needed to order 6 new pair of tailored trousers because he had burned the one of yesterday in fire pit out of sheer underrated shame. The moment two rival alphas locked eyes, the atmosphere of the mall changed. The air grew heavy and thick. Lucas' dark, violent alpha aura instantly flared, practically cracking the marble floor. William's own terrifying ice aura raised to meet it. The guards on both sides instantly dropped shopping bag and reached out their coat hidden gun. William, Lucas growled, his voice vibrate with intent. William stopped, his jaw clenched, his eyes flickered from Lucas to smaller figures stand next to him. His brain completely shattered. There he was, absolute menace, the creature who had straddled him, demanding his hand in marriage and aggressively panted him in front of entire security details not even 24 hours ago. William felt Pantheon draft around his ankle just looking at him. But before William could even open his mouth, Leo sprang into action. Gasp! Leo let out tiny, high-pitched squeal of pure terror. He dropped the small velvet jewelry box he was holding, stumbled backward, and practically dove behind Lucas. He clutched Lucas' leather jacket and his entire body visibly trembling. Instantly, the scent of sweet vanilla flooded the corridor, but this time it was laced with the sharp, sour pang of omega fear. Luke, Leo whimpered, his voice cracking perfectly. He peeked out from behind his brother, his eyes wide and brimming with unshed crocodile tears. Who is scary man? His eyes so mean. William's jaw physically dropped. Julian, standing just behind William, let out a choke, wheezing sound and had a grab to wall from support. His eyes are sizing of dinner plates. Was he serious? William thought, his mind racing. Is this hallucination? Is this the same boy who looked me dead in the eyes and asked me to rail him into next Tuesday? Lucas instantly shifting, throwing a massive protective arm in front of his trembling brother, shielding him from William's view. Close your eyes, Leo. Don't look at him, Lucas said, his voice turning incredibly soft from his brother before he snapped his furious glare back to William. Call off your aura, William, right now. William just stared, utterly speechless. He looked at Lucas, then the trembling white sweater hidden behind him. Lucas, William started, his voice trained. Do you have any idea what you're? Shut your mouth. Lucas barked, taking a step forward. We have treaty. Families is off limit. I'm not going to fight you today, William. Not here. I will not expose my innocent brother to your flatty, violent existence. You are terrifying him. Terrifying him? William's eyes twitched violently. He ripped my belt off. He rated my thighs on the scale of 1 to 10. William opened his mouth to scream the truth, to yell at Lucas that his innocent brother was a shameless predator little gremlin. But the words died in the throat. How could he possibly explain it? Hey Lucas, your angelic brother broking into my mansion, sit on my lap, begging for gunplay, and stripped me down into my skill boxer in front of my employees. If he said that, Lucas could not believe him. And if Lucas did believe him, he could shoot William in the face for letting it happen. It was a lose lose situation. Julian leaned in close William's ear, whispering frantically, Boss, do not say a word. The kid is psychopath. He deserves an Academy Award. Look at him. He literally crying. It was a true. A single perfect crystalline tear had rolled down Leo's cheek as he clutched to Lucas. I was to go home, Luke, Leo sobbed quietly, burying his face into Lucas' spine. He looked at me like he wanted to eat me. William's face turned a violent shade of crimson. I want to throw you into the sun. William screamed in thought. It's okay, Angel. I got you. Lucas coaxed, rubbing Leo's hair smoothly. Lucas glared at William with the heat of thousand suns. You mark my word, William. You stay far away from my family. If you even breathe in Leo's direction again, the treaty is burned, and I will level your entire estate. William stood there, completely paralyzed by the sheer unadulterated audacity of Omega. He was trapped in nightmare. Come on, sweetie, Lucas said, his tone softening dramatically as he turned away from his rival. Let's get out of there. The air is polluted. We go to the Cartier store, buy you whatever you want, and get some ice cream. Okay, big brother. Leo sniffed softly, keeping his head down as he let Lucas guiding him away. The guards picked up the bag, throwing dirty look at William's man, and as they turned to leave, William stood frozen in the middle of corridor, his chest heaving with unexpressed rage, watching his worst enemy walk away. As Lucas and his entourage walked down the concourse, Lucas kept his eyes fixed forward, constantly scanning of threats, firmly shielding his brother. But Leo casually looked back over his shoulder. The moment Lucas could not see his face, the trembling, terrifying angel completely vanished. Leo's tears stopped instantly. A wicked, devastatingly shameless smirk spread across his lips. His locked eyes with William. Slowly, Leo raised a hand to his lips, kissed his finger, and blowing a dramatically tactical flying kiss right to the mafia boss. Then he bluntly dropped his gaze off William Westline, bite his lower lip, and give a slow wink. William literally choked on his own spit. Before William could react, Leo seamlessly whipped his head back around, burying his face into Lucas' arm and letting out another pathetic, fake little whimper. Walk faster, Luke. He's so scary. I know, Angel, I know. Lucas' protective voice echoed down the hall. William stood perfectly still in the empty corridor. His hands are shaking. His brain was actively trying to leap out his skulls. Julian slowly patted his boss on the shoulder. Boss, Julian asked gently, do you need me to call the doctor? Or perhaps priest? Julian, William whispered, his voice hollow, staring blankly at the spot where the Omega had just been. I'm going to need a very large drink and padlock for my belt. For the next 48 hours, the most feared mafia compound on the East Coast has operating under a new, highly classified security protocol. Julian had officially debuted Operation Anti-Gremlin. William had doubled the perimeter guards. He had updated to biometric locks, but the most importantly, he had a fundamentally change in his wardrobe. He was currently wearing a pair of dramatically trousers secured not only by heavy dirt leather belt but by a belt to feature of a little steel combination lock. Boss. The shipment from Nepal arrived safely, Julian said, standing in William's private master suite. He pushed, look at his waistline, and I see the new belt arrive as well. Not a word, Julian, William growled from edge of his bed, rubbing his face in exhaustion. If I have to sleep in steel reinforced suspender to keep my dignity intact, I will. That creature is a psychological weapon. Lucas trained him to break my mind. I don't think Lucas know his brother is a feral succubus, boss. Julian pointed out at the mall, the kid looked like he was audition of role as a Victorian orphan. He winked at me, Julian, William roared, throwing his hand in the air. He blew me a kiss while crying onto Lucas' shoulder. He is a demon sent from hell wearing my enemy's face. William stood up, pinching his bridge of his nose. I need to a shower. I feel completely contaminated. Just think about him. Tell the guard if the red sport card coming within mile of this property, they have authority to use rocket launcher. Understood, boss. Julian bowed and exited the master suite, locking the heavy door behind him. William sighed, finally feeling a peace. He stripped off his heavily secured clothes, stepped into in his massive glass walking shower, and let the scalding hot water wash away the state of being aggressively pressured by an unhinged Omega. 20 minutes later, William turned off the water. He ran a hand through dark hair, feeling somewhat human again. He grabbed a plush white Egypt cotton towel, wrapped it securely around his waist, and stepped out of the steaming bathroom into the bedroom. I always suspected the V line could be insane, but seeing it in person, God, I could eat off those apps. William froze, his blood turning absolutely ice. Sitting in the exact center of William's massive king size bed was Leo. But Leo was not wearing his fluffy white innocent sweater. Oh no, Leo had somehow ripped his William closet, and the Omega was wearing nothing but the William own custom tailor black silk dress shirt It was large on him, slipping dangerously off one pale shoulder and barely covering a top of his thigh. His legs crossed elegantly, and he was casually eating a green apple. The room reeked of expensive, sweet vanilla and wild strawberry, entirely overpowering William Owen's alpha scent. How? William's voice was barely a whisper. He clenched his towel with a death grip, his ankle turning a white. How are you in here? The doors are locked. The perimeter is aimed. I brought the gate guard a dozen glazed donuts and told them I was your secret mafia wife here for 2D call. Leo said, taking a bite of apple. They are very supportive. One of them actually cried and said he was happy you finally found a love. They give me a master passcode. I'm going to execute them, William said blankly. I'm going to execute every single man on my payroll. Don't change the subject, Daddy. We have limit time before my brother track my phone. Leopard tossing a half-eaten apple into a nightstand. He leaned back on his hand, arching his back slightly, a wicked look in his eyes. He bluntly let his gaze travel down William's bored, dripping wet chest, lingering right at the knot of towel. Are you going to drop the towel, or do I have to come over there and rip it off with my teeth? If you come within 5 feet of me, I will throw you the reinforced window, William threatened. Backing up against the bathroom door, desperately trying to project his terrifying alpha aura. It failed completely. Leo just let out breathy laugh. Oh, I love it when you talk dirty, Leo said, biting his lower lip. Throw me against the glass, William. Do it. Pin my hand above my head and wreck me right here. I want to. You ruin my life so hard I forget my own name. I want to walk with a limp for a week. William's face flushed a violent dark red. He was 32-year-old Mafia Don. He had tortured man. He had built an empire on blood. But he was entirely unoccupied of this flavor of shamelessness. You are sick, William shouted, his voice cracking slightly. You are completely out of your mind. I hate your brother. Every time I look at your face, I see Lucas. Dan hit it from the back, Leo suggested cheerfully, clapping his hands together. Problem solved. You don't have to look at my face. You can just look at my ash and we both win. I'm going to crazy, William whisked, sliding down the bathroom door slightly. This is how I die. Not by a bullet, but by a sexually frustrated gremlin in silk shirt. Don't be dramatic, sweetheart, Leo coaxed. Sliding off the bed, he began walking slowly toward William, his bare feet padding softly against the plush carpet, the oversized black shirt up dangerously high. You know you wanted. Your alpha instincts are probably screaming right now. I smell amazing, don't I? Sweetheart, ripped and ready for you to absolutely destroy. William closed his eyes tightly, turning his head away. Get back. I swear to God, Leo, get back. Or what? Leo whispered. He stopped just inches away from William. The heat radiating off the Omega was intoxicating, a invitation. Leo reached into his pocket and pulled out something sparkling. Look what Lucas brought me yesterday to comfort me after you terrified me. William opened his eyes. Leo was holding a diamond bracelet Lucas had brought him at the mall. It's very Trudy, Leopard, trailing a finger down William's wet chest. watching the alpha violently shivering in response. I was thinking we could use it to tie my wrist to your headboard. Or if you feeling submissive today, I can tie your. I'm very versatile, Willie. Stop calling me Willie. William practically screamed, aggressively sweating Leo hand away and pulling his towel tightly. I'm the boss of the largest in the country. I am a god of the death. You are god of the death who look really cute clutching his little bath towel. Leo teased, stepping even closer, pressing his soft body against William's muscular one. Come on, just one kiss. Let me ride you once. If you don't like it, I never bother you again. But if you like it, I'll let you choke me a little. Lucas was suffocating. The pheromones are completely overwhelming his senses. The sheer terrifying position of Lucas' identical face spouting the flattest, almost 18 plus line his had ever heard was breaking his reality. Suddenly, the heavy door burst open. Boss perimeter, Julian shouted, storming into the room with his weapon. Julian stopped dead in the track. The scene before him was like a painting of absolute disaster. The most terrifying alpha in the city was pinned against the bathroom door, desperately clutching towel to his chest like a fragile maiden, looked like absolutely traumatized. Meanwhile, his rival twin brother, wearing only William dress shirt, had him completely cornered, holding a diamond bracelet like a pair of handcuffs. Silence descended upon the room. Julian slowly lowered his gun. He looked at William. Then he looked at Leo. He looked at the towel. Leo did not even flinch. He just looked over his shoulder at Julian, entirely unbothered. Do you mind, Julian? We are just getting the heavy petting phase. And honestly, I'm not the really into three-way unless the third guy pay for dinner. My apologies, Julian said in a perfect deadpan, professional voice. He slowly began to back out of the room. I will inform the guard that the screaming coming from the master bedroom entirely consensual. Have a protective evening, boss. Julian, do not leave me alone with him, William screamed, panic in his voice as he tried to reach out, only for his towel to slip an inch, forcing him to grab it again. Arrest him, shoot him, do something. I'm sorry, boss, but families is off limit, Julian said, his hand on doorknob, completely abandoning his leader to his fate. And I don't want to get in the way of true love. Click. Julian shut the door and locked it from outside. William stared at the closed door in absolute horror. He had been betrayed. He was entirely alone. Leo turned back to William. A slow, predatory smirk spread across his face. He reached up, casually unbuttoning the top of three buttons of black shirt, exposing pale skin. Well, Leo whispered, stepping right between William's legs, looking up through his eyelashes. Look like it's just you and me and this towel. So, who taking off? You or me? Leo reached out, his small, delicate finger grazing the knot of a cotton towel at William's waist. He expected William to blush. He expected him to shatter, or maybe even finally cave to the undeniable chemistry in the room. Instant, the temperature in the room plumped to absolute zero. William did not blush. He did not shatter. Something deep inside the mafia boss, the primal, ruthless, utterly dominant alpha, the rule the criminal underworld, finally snapped. He had been mocked, humiliated, and pushed far past his limit by Battery Omega, wearing the face of his mortal enemy. Playtime was officially over. William's eyes darkened to the terrifying pitch black void. Without warning, he released his alpha pheromones. It wasn't a stubble, intimidating aura he used to boardroom. It was a raw, concentrated, suffocating alpha pheromones, the scent of bitter winter frost, burning gunpowder, and the crushed pin needle explode into the room. It was so heavy, so physical, oppressive, that the air itself felt like it had to turn to lead. Leo froze, his hand dropped from the towel. Biologically, an omega's body is wired to submit it to enrage alpha. No amount of sex, confidence, or designer clothes could protect Leo from millions of years of evolution. The crushing weight of William's aura slammed into him like a freight train. Leo gasped, his hand flying to his own throat. He stumbled backward, his knees buckling under the sheer, terrifying pressure. The sweet scent of vanilla and strawberries instantly soared into the sharp scent of pure, unadulterated omega panic. He could not breathe. His lungs refused to take in air. Will Leo choked out, tears springing to his eyes, the real tear of physiological terror. He took another shaky step back, his entire body trembling violently. He raised his hand in the gesture of absolute surrender. He could not fight it. He gave up. I tolerate your games because of treaty. William's voice no longer frustrated yell. It was a low, Dominic rumble, the vibrate the glass of shower behind him. But you have forgotten what I am. I'm not a toy. I'm a monster. William did not wait for Julian. He did not call the guard. He stragged forward, completely ignoring the fact that he was still on wearing a towel, and grabbed Leo roughly by the upper arm. You, William, please, you hurting me. Leo whimpered, stumbling as William practically dragged him out of Master's suite. William did not listen. His grip was iron wise. He dragged the terrified Omega down the grand marble staircase, past the shock guard, and straight through the massive front of gate. He shoved his heavy mahogany front door open with one hand and marched out onto the cold stone. With the powerful heave, William threw Leo forward. Leo stumbled and fell hard onto his hands and knees on the cold, unforgiving driveway, the oversized black shirt slipping entirely off his shoulder. He scraped his palms, gasping as the freezing night air hit his skin. He slowly looked up. William stood at the top of the stair, a terrifying titan of the muscular, scary, and absolute authority, looking down at Leo with eyes of devoid of any warmth. Leo's bottom lip trembling, the battery, shameless face was completely shattered. He kneeled there, looking incredibly small and fragile. His big, dewy like eyes filled to the brim with the watery tears. Why? Leo whispered, his voice cracking painfully. I love you. I love you so much. Why won't you just accept me, William? William looked at the tears streaming down the boy's face. For a fraction of a second, his alpha instinct screaming at him to comfort the Omega. But then he looked at the shape of Leo jaw, the curve of his nose, the dark hair. It was Lucas. I will never love you, William said, his voice as cold and hard as demand. Look at yourself. You are delusional breath. But worse than that, You wear the face of the man I despise most in this world. Every time I look at you, I feel physically sick. I do not want your love. I do not want you. Never come near me again. Leo flinched as if he had been physically struck. The tear the fell this time not for show. It's not crocodile tear to manipulate his brother. It was a hot, agonizing tear of genuine heartbreak. It slid down his cheek, followed repeatedly by another. His chest heaved with a quiet, devastating sob. He looked at William, his heart shattering into million pieces. But beneath the pain, a stubborn spark remained. I will prove it, he sobbed, wiping his tear with his back of hand. You think I'm just a joke? But I will prove to you that my love is true, even if it's kill me. William's expression remained entirely blank. He simply turned around and walked back inside. The heavy door shut with a resounding boom that echoed through the night.